Good evening, young Padawans and Padawans. It is I, JT. You know what that means? It's Monday night. Gotta love Monday. Tonight, it is 3 Ewoks in the park with myself, the Redneck, and the Geek Sully. Tonight, we're going over episodes 3 and 4 of the new series, The Acolytes. So, do me a favor, grab your favorite beverage or whatever it is that you want to drink. Chuck the snack on, sit back in that beanbag chair, and enjoy the ride. Sully, it's all you.
Oh, why, thank you, sir. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2 Ewoks in the Park. Yes, where we take that wonderful stories of Star Wars lore that's now being brought into the world of canon and saying, hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Why not, right? Why not?
Definitely.
Howdy, Mr. Bunky. Hello, sir. Happy
Good to see you,
birthday,
Bunker.
by the way. Happy birthday. I know it's a birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
A happy birthday. Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do a big birthday shout out for you tomorrow, my friend. That's for sure. JT, do me a favor, tilt your camera down just a little bit. Your camera's a little lopsided. There you go. Marvelous. And now I can just adjust the headroom where I need to. It's excellent.
Sorry.
It's excellent that way. There we go. Perfect. Just like so. Just like so. Excellent. All right. As I was saying before, I had to correct JT's wonderful camera work here, which is still fine. Still fine. We're doing good.
30.
It's what?
37 going on 90. I understand, Bunky. I really
Nice. Yeah, that's because he's getting old.
do. Exactly. We're
Bunky's
getting old and it
old.
sucks.
Although we're both
I
older
am.
than him, so yeah. Well, anyway, we're gonna get right down to the nitty gritty. And JT, I know I didn't give you the prep for it just yet, so please hold. I will send you that link.
No
Because-
worries. No worries.
Why not? Episodes 3 and 4 of The Acolytes. That's right. So we're going to start everything off with episode 3 because why not?
Place to start, since how we ended it with 2.
That I agree. I agree 100%. Yep. Episode 3 is titled Destiny. Destiny, where this is a 100% flashback episode.
Yes.
Now,
Answered a lot of. Before we start, I have to tell you something that's real quick. That's kind of funny.
yep.
Because remember, I messaged you and I said, you got to make sure you watch the recap between episodes 3 and 4.
Yes.
And you're like, why? I says, because it gives us answers that I've been begging for, or parts of answers that I've been begging. Somehow or another, how I don't know how we managed to do this, but somehow or another, Kay and I managed to completely skip over episode 3
That would
and
do
watched
it.
episode 4.
Oops.
So we turn on episode 3 tonight and we're like, I've never seen this. So somehow or another, we managed to completely skip episode 3 and went straight to 4.
How does one do that?
I have no freaking clue.
I'm intrigued.
No clue. No clue whatsoever.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little intrigued by how that happened.
Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit more tomorrow night. I'm sure the others
Yes.
would love to hear about that one.
Absolutely. Well, I watched it in order.
Right?
So let's just get down to the nitty gritty here and let's break it down for you. This entire episode is everything that happened 16 years before episodes 1 and 2. So this is including Asha and May being children. This is them being a part of a witch coven, which I'm a little torn on, but that's besides the
I found
point.
that to be a very interesting though, because that's a avenue that they've only taken one other time.
Which is
in
why
Star
I have
Wars.
questions and I have comments on, because to me, the way it's sounding,
Mhm.
and try to correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but the way it's sounding is that this coven of witches
Mhm.
are before the Night Sisters and have nothing to do with the Night Sisters. Which is fine, I guess.
Well, and the biggest thing is, and I really don't want to give anything away, but I kind of have to. Is it's nothing new for covens in modern day and in
Right.
fantasy
Right.
for covens to be completely destroyed.
Right.
You know, I mean, you look at I can't think of the name of it, but the one where the wolves and the or the werewolves and the vampires fought.
Yes.
You know, it's nothing new for covens of any kind. You know, be they witch covens, werewolves, vampires. You know, for
vampires and lycans.
Yes. So it's a weird way for them to go, but it kind of establishes things a little bit for the witches that come up
Sure.
in shows that we've already watched.
Sure.
In a way.
Now,
So it is kind of weird, though.
it's a little weird. It is.
Yes.
And again, by the way, folks, this is also one of the lowest rated fan wise or audience wise.
Really?
Oh yeah. The ratings for the series has been tanking. And part of that is everything that's going on behind the scenes or after the fact, like whatever. Star Wars fans are Star Wars fans. True fans embrace it.
Right.
It is what it is.
Real quick, want to say hi to our good friend Carol from across the
Hi, Carol.
northern border up in Canada. Great to see you, girl.
Yeah. What up? I'll be in your neck of the woods in August. That's besides the point. Not near you, but yeah, I'll be in Canada. Anyway, so this takes place on Brendock 16 years earlier, where we see a younger Osha and her sister May. And Osha's meditating in the woods, which is a good thing. It's a good thing she's meditating. She's using what she's already been taught by this witch coven to, you know, be one with their beliefs, which in a lot of ways it has to do with the Force, but that's besides the fruit. The fruit. Yeah, the fruit. Yep. The fruit. The Force.
The fruits of their labor or our labor?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So, you know, Asha says the bunta tree, which is what she's sitting under, is beautiful. And May replies, yeah, but it's dangerous. If you eat the fruit, it'll kill you, which is true. It will.
Yeah, and it's like, well, only if you eat it.
Yeah. But you can start to see the difference between May and Asha as pertaining to the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Because May has been suspending insects in the air, kind of like a torture thing, which is interesting to say the least.
You think it's a torture?
Oh, yes. She has some dark side tendencies.
And what happened? Where did my sound go?
I don't know. Where did your sound go? Can you hear me? Are you there?
Where did my sound go?
He can't hear me. Ah. Look, he looks confused. Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear me now? Good. No, he can't hear me. Jacob,
Now I do.
Yay, you fixed it.
I didn't do anything.
What happened?
I don't know. I brought up the page, and your sound disappeared. I'm looking all over the place, and then poof, you came back in.
Yeah. I'll blame the cat. That's the best thing I can do is blame the cat. I mean, why
Works
not?
for me.
So you can see that May has a little bit of the dark side in her because she's not just suspending these insects in the air. She's like shaking them and torturing them.
Yeah. I mean, when OSHA did it, it was gentle,
Yes.
but when May did it, she goes, there was a lot of force in that. And it's like.
And she questions the violent tendencies that May has.
Mm-hmm.
And then May says, well, why do you always run off? So just to paint a little picture here, this is the perfect example of the balance of the Force. Okay. And many people will be like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. You have twins. One is leaning more toward the dark side, and the other is leaning more toward the light. Balance. Freddie Prinze Jr. did a whole interview on this. Look it up on YouTube. Trust me. He's right. Well, OSHA is not really keen. I think is it OSHA or is it ASHA? I think it's ASHA. Varasha, right?
Well, yeah, but it's spelled OSHA.
Yeah, so it's like I automatically say OSHA. But she's very hesitant about the ascension because the two of them are coming of age. And that's when they ascend to become full-on practicing witches. To keep the coven going.
And this is where we first find out that they're witches.
Yes. And she even says, well, it's only a ceremony. She goes, all right, well, you want to go through it, I'll go through it because I'm your sister. We'll do what we need to do.
And this is where their little saying of, you come from me and I come from you and all that little thing that they did is where this all started from.
Yep. And that's when Mother Coral interrupts them.
Yes.
Now, Mother Coral looks an awful like Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm. First thing I thought of when I saw her.
Just saying. She looks a lot like Darth Maul.
And this just kind of ties into a theory that I have. I can't reveal it just yet, but it ties into a theory I have.
Yeah. Well, she's what you would call a Zabrak. And Zabraks come from Dathomir, where they're Night Sisters. Ho ho! A clue, Sherlock. Just putting it out there.
It's both hands.
True. But that's where, you bring in Darth Maul and his brother and all that good stuff. And,
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. Night Sisters, only 100 and something years before we saw them in Clone Wars. But that's besides the point. Now, she tells them, you shouldn't have left the fortress walls. And the reason being is because there's things out there that, could potentially harm you. It's for your safety. You need to stay in here. And of course, we see Master Soul sneak up and watch from behind a tree. Master Soul. Well, sure, but no. Because you can tell why he's there.
Well, he has a very concerned look on his face.
Yes.
A very concerned look on his face.
Yes. And that concerned look mainly pertains to the Jedi. Now, under the Republic, the rule is, this is a law under the Republic for Star Wars, that children that are Force sensitive are to be trained by the Jedi. They test them.
They have the right to test them.
They have the right to test them. They have the right to train them. They have the right to do what they want to do. Okay? That is under Republic law. Now, let's fast forward to being inside this wonderful mountain fortress of all females. Okay. I'm down for that. A lot of different species in there.
Yes.
And as they're coming
One
up,
thing is for sure, it's not pure. That's for sure.
right. Now, as that's happening, obviously the twins see some spice creams. Yes, not ice cream, spice creams, which are basically like little cookies, little sweets. So it's not what you think when you see spice cream. As they're talking, Coral is saying no because you left the fortress. You were outside the boundaries. This is what's happening. No. And that's when their mother, Anastasia, comes in. And she goes, let them have sweets. Isn't it nice when the mother says something like that? You know, they deserve sweet treats. After all, it's only going to be Ascension soon, you know? So Coral says, well, you know, not for nothing. The girls ran away again. And their mother said, yes, but nobody saw them escaping. So the fact that she agrees that, yes, they've escaped, but nobody saw them, that's okay. But Coral also mentions that the Jedi are there and they've moved inland. They're searching for something. Anastasia goes, well, no, wait, we're safe. Don't worry. We're good. We're safe from prying eyes. There's no way they'll be able to come in here and find us and do their whole Jedi thing.
Right.
So what they do is
from the way they said that, it almost sounds like the people that they've lost in the Coven and the reason that they've gone into hiding is because of the Jedi.
Yes.
Am I wrong in the way I interpreted that?
No, you're not wrong. You're
Okay.
not. You're not. So with that, they have a little meeting of the Coven. It's kind of like their Jedi Council, only this is the Council of Witches. And Anastasia pulls a thread out of thin air, like a little blue force thread, I'd like to say. And she goes, well, this connects all things. So she is teaching them about the Force. Whether it's light or dark, I don't know. We've seen some issues with that, Anakin. I mean, who said that? She says to them, while some may call this the thread the Force, it's not a power that can be wielded, which is very true. The Force cannot be wielded. It binds us. It connects us. It's part of us. That's what they're teaching. They're teaching their understanding of the Force, but in a different way. Perfect. Anastasia gets 2 volunteers for a demonstration with the power of 2 as 1, I believe.
Power of 1, the power of 1 and the power of 2, because it was 2 separate demonstrations.
Right. So they were doing like a little teaching for the Ascension that night. And you could see that the 2 that were up against Anastasia, she basically sent them flying, no problem. But when it came time for the twins to do it, not so much. May stepped in and held her back.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
interesting.
because what it was is the kids were playing around
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They
behind
were
her
fighting.
as she's doing this demonstration. Because of the fruit. One of them grabbed the fruit and they just start going back and forth. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
Well, she turns around and knocks them down.
They were bickering.
Get their attention. Wake them up.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Protect yourself from my attack," and she attacked.
Yep.
And OSHA, I thought was pretty cool. May blocked, OSHA ducked behind her.
Yes.
Says a lot. Says a lot.
Says a lot that her sister is willing to protect her. Which
and also says a lot that, she duck and ran, basically.
Yes. But, that's where her doubts are coming into play, because she has spoken of her doubts. And, when they leave, Coral gazes at a generator, but May tells Anastasia that OSHA's nervous about the ceremony. She'll be okay. And that's when the two speak to each other directly. And she is questioning the ascension. She's questioning becoming a witch. She's questioning why she has to do it. And that if she should do it.
Well, the one thing that I noticed the most up to this point is the fact that OSHA or Asha, whichever way we want to say it.
Yep.
She doesn't want to be tied down to one spot and to one thing.
Right.
She wants to explore.
She wants to
That's why she runs away. She wants to know more about the universe.
Yeah.
And what's going on out there,
Yeah. And that's when Anastasia gets into, the thread of the Force has bound them together before they were even born. But also that the ascension is not about walking through fear. It's about sacrificing yourself to be a part of something bigger.
Yeah. And it definitely drives that home with the question that they are asked.
Yes.
Here in just a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Now, the other thing is she warns Asha that the galaxy is a much bigger place.
Yeah.
But she also mentions that it's a bigger place that does not welcome women with special powers like them. That
reality even
line
today.
Now that line though, I did kind of like a cringe moment for that one. And you know me, I try not to, I go in with an open mind, but that was a political statement.
Yes, it was. Well, blatant political.
That was flat out, here it is, clear as day, boom.
Mm-hmm.
People are a lot more understanding than you think, people, just, putting it out there. But yes, there are about good portion that are assholes too. Well.
And I mean, we try to ignore the political stuff. We try to pass over it without even talking about it. But every now and then,
absolutely,
it's something that has to be mentioned, even though we mention it in passing.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, as the ascension is going on, now it's their turn. We see 2 crescent moons. By the way, those effects, pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yes, they were. Pretty neat effects.
Those were cool, seeing the 2 moons, and they were both in the crescent. And one kind of had like that star at the end, which was nice.
Yeah, it had line going off top and bottom and off to the sides and stuff. It was pretty neat.
It was a nice touch. I like it.
Yeah. It was.
Well, the sisters are getting their hair done by some handmaids. And they're talking about spice creams, and they're also talking about how May sees Asha drawing in her journal and some of the things that she's seen in it. And this is where we're starting to see more of the difference between the two, because one wants to do this and the other one doesn't. We can see it clear as day.
Yeah.
But
And May
May,
complains that, she shows her sister everything.
yes,
She tells her sister everything.
yes,
But Osha does not return that favor.
no,
And Osha tells her straight out, sometimes I just want to be alone.
yeah, she wants to be her own person,
Yeah.
which makes sense. And it's funny because you can see the handmaids as they're doing their hair, and the two of them are bickering and arguing, that they're just getting that awkward. It's that awkward silence. Like, do we say anything to them? Do we let their mother know? Like, what do we do?
I think it's more about that. Do we tell their mom what's going on, or,
Right.
or do we just, keep it to ourselves? I think it's more that than
Right.
saying anything.
Well, they go and enter the Ascension ceremony, and the two kneel down before all of the sisters. And May is very eager, and Asha or Osha, whichever one, I'm just going to say Asha, is nervous.
Okay, we'll go with that.
You know, I'll say Asha, you say Osha. We cover both bases.
There we go.
And Asaya holds the girl's hands under the aligned twin moons. And this is really the only time the ascension happens, is when these two moons are aligned together.
Right.
And they start chanting the power of 1, 2, and 3. And as they're chanting, now they're starting to dance. They're doing their things with their hands. You can see the force manifesting as a blue streak, I guess you could say, or a blue hue or aura, if you want to really go into it. And we see them continue to chant, and that's when they start asking May if she's going to uphold the traditions and teach the ways and so on and so forth. And she's very eager to say yes. Very, very eager to say yes.
Yeah, and the way they phrased this was very interesting, because she says, upon my death, are you willing to follow the ways and protect the coven?
Yep.
But it was after my death, or upon my death. So, I mean, the way that they worded that to me was kind of weird.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because normally with this kind of stuff, it's, you will protect it whether I'm dead or not. Everybody protects the coven.
Yeah.
Everybody protects the group. Not because the way that it sounds with this is that she is the protector.
Yes.
The NSA is the protector, not anybody else.
Yeah.
Which it just sounded weird to me, the way that they did this.
It was a bit odd, but it's understandable for what they're trying to do. Okay.
True.
And it makes sense for the coven.
This is the first time they've done the Ascension in 18 years since they went into hiding.
Correct. Because there's no children.
Yeah, there was no. Yeah.
Which I have questions on. Don't get me wrong. Star Wars lore, they're there. I have questions. But May, when May says yes, we see a tattoo form on her head on the left side, which, cool. That was awesome. But then Asha is up, and she's very hesitant. And she even says that, yeah, I do, like, she questions it instead of saying I do.
It is almost a non-committal committal.
Yes. At that same exact time, though, we see one of the sisters come barging in.
Interrupt my ceremony.
Yep, that's the thing. Interrupting the ceremony. And says that the Jedi have sliced the platform and will be there soon. That's when Anastasia says to Coral, hide the girls.
Right.
Hide the children among your cloaks. We do not want them to see them. Yeah. And then
Go ahead.
Sorry,
I don't mean to cut you off. an important thing to note here is, as that happened, as she was interrupted, she was just getting ready to do the thing with Osha.
Yep.
That she did with May.
Yep.
Because May has the rings.
Yep.
Which developed when she did the ascension to her.
Yep.
She started to do the ascension to Osha, but got interrupted. So Osha doesn't have the dots.
Nope.
She was never technically ascended.
Correct.
Because it wasn't finished.
Correct.
So,
and
the timing on that was really good.
Yeah. Well, that, and I mean, it's a good way to tell them apart too. And because of that, now we have some of the Coven warriors ready to let's go kick some ass.
Bow and arrow.
Bow and arrows ready to go. And Anastasia says, stand down. No violence. We don't want any violence. We don't want anybody getting hurt. Because let's face it, even though they got bow and arrows, the Jedi are formidable opponents. You don't want to mess with them. Okay?
Yeah, bow and arrow's not going to do much against a lightsaber.
Nope, not at all. Well, as they come in, we see our buddies, Indara, who we know is already dead. We see Jedi Master Sol, and we see Torben and Kalnaka, the one Wookiee that we saw at the end of episode 2. Indara introduces herself, says, "Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to meet you. We hear you're training children here, and according to law of the Republic, you cannot do that." And then, of course, Anastasia right away, "We are not under the Republic, therefore you do not have jurisdiction here."
Right. And she says that the planet that they're on, is it Bendok or something like that?
Yep.
That planet is not under
Correct.
the Jedi.
They're not under Republic. They're not under the Jedi. However, the one thing that they don't realize is that that planet is technically in the Republic. It is part of a system that is part of the Republic, which means the Jedi do, in theory, have jurisdiction, and they can still test the children. They came unarmed, unannounced, and that they're trespassing. And Asha is very curious about the Jedi. But May kind of does the, "No, don't do it. You're going to get in trouble. Just saying. You're going to get in trouble." But that's when they call them out. "We know you're there. Come on out. Don't be afraid. We're not here to hurt you." Which is true. They're Jedi. They're not there to hurt anybody.
I thought it was funny that Kalnaka really is the one that
Sensed
pulled
them.
on him.
Yeah.
He's already just got.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Gotta love those Wookiees, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that wasn't a very good Wookiee, but you know.
yeah. No one can speak Wookiee like a computer. But anyway.
Ain't that true?
So Coral right away is like, "No, there's no kids here. No kids. Not happening. Nope. Nobody here. No kids here. You haven't seen anybody that's 4 feet tall."
Liar.
Eventually, Asha comes out, and so does May. They both come out, and they notice certain things. And Saul says, "Hey, that mark wasn't there this morning.
Yep.
I saw them this morning. That wasn't there. Just letting you know." And the witches then started accusing the Jedi of wanting to take their children. And Saul is the first one to go, "Hold it. That's not what we do. We do not do that." He's kind of lying. They
don't forcefully take them.
Right. They still leave that up to the kids.
Right.
They can either go with them or not. It's entirely up to them. However, the witches decide to react with, "I'm going to rip your face off." And Saul takes his lightsaber out ready for combat, but Indara says, whoa, hold it, buddy. Chill out, relax. Let's see what we got going on. And that's when he shows Asha the lightsaber. Do you want to touch it? Do you want to see what it is? And he goes, would you like us to test you? And at first, she was kind of hesitant, but she was looking more for that facial recognition of permission from her mother, you know?
Right.
And May is kind of like, screw you. But that's when Anastasia stares at Torben and causes his eyes to turn black.
Interestingly, that Torben was a Padawan at this time.
Yes.
I
was
found that interesting.
I think he was either Souls or Indara's. I'm not 100. They were both Padawans, but
yeah, he was Indara's.
Indara's. That's right. That's right. She introduced him. And I think Kelnaka, even though he was a Padawan, he was nearing the end of being a Padawan.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
They didn't really get into it that much. She introduced Saul and Kendara. The Wookiee. As regular Jedi, and then specifically said, and my Padawan Tanaka.
Yeah. Kelnaka. Good old Kelnaka. Now, while that's all well and good, she's kind of possessing him, so to speak. And that's when he said, they say, whoa, okay, chill. We're not here to fight. We're going to leave, but we would still like to test these kids.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here to, do anything, whatever. And Anastasia reluctantly arranges for Asha to be brought to the Jedi encampment for testing the next day for both of them. And Indara asks about May, and that's when Anastasia goes, all right, fine. You can test her too. Shortly after the Jedi leave, there's a war council. Dun, 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 dun. War council. Ha, 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 ha. Coral sends the girls to bed. What was that?
I said, which has a very interesting ending to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very interesting indeed. As we'll soon find out. But they have a war council to discuss why the Jedi are there, urging of caution, so on and so forth. If we don't let them, then the Republic is going to come down on us, and all hell is going to break loose. We're going to be noticed. We're not going to be free and safe anymore, and all hell is going to break loose. And that's when they go, well, wait a minute. Why don't we let them get tested? All they got to do is fail.
Mm-hmm.
Ha-ha. A plan.
The elder.
Yeah.
Of the coven.
Nasa, I believe her name is.
Yeah. Yeah, Elder Nasa. She says, there's only two ways that this can go. They either pass.
Or they fail.
And she left it at that.
Yeah.
They either pass or they fail.
Yep.
Which was really the perfect thing for her to say, because it's like, hey, set it up to have what you want to have happen.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Know? Well, from there, they decide, okay, let's do it. And the girls are already talking about, well, if you fail, they're not going to take you. Yep. You don't want them to take us from our mama. We'll never see her again. That type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then they kind of argue a little bit like siblings do about whether the Jedi are good or bad or in between. And Anastasia says the issue is not about good or evil. It's rather who should have that power.
Right.
But she also says that the Jedi's interests change like the seasons. I do have to agree with that. Mostly for the reason of look at the different Jedis that we've seen lately. And look how each one views the Force and the Jedi Order differently. Okay? Ahsoka. Yes, she's a former Jedi. She has absolutely no relation to the Jedi at all. But she is one with the Force. She has taken her training and done what she needed to do.
Yep.
You don't need to be part of the Jedi or the Sith to live your life with these powers.
Right.
Just don't mess with them. So they go to test them. Kids go to have a test, and well, while they're getting tested, this and by the way, this is one of the longer episodes. This was almost like an hour-long episode. We can see Kelnaka repairing a speeder bike, and Asha goes over and is intrigued at what he's doing. And May goes into the ship for her testing. Hello, Will. Good to see you, sir. May the Force be with you. Talking about episode 3 of Acolyte right now. And we can see that Torben, when it's Asha's turn, Torben goes and gives her a little prick on the arm for blood extraction. That's going to count the midi-chlorian, clearly. Going to see how much it is. And Torben explains that, he had to go through the same thing. I had to go through the same thing, it's just a little test, nothing big, just to see what's going on. And then we see something that we've already seen before. We've seen Anakin being tested as a kid by the Jedi Council. They're using the same exact procedure. They hold up a little display and they say, okay, guess what's on the display? And Saul is doing the questions. And Dara's there with him, but he's asking the questions. And you can see she's trying to make sure she gets it wrong. So every time something comes up on the screen, like a spaceship or a mountain is what she said, it was actually something else. And when he showed that he was going along with it and the space station popped up and she said that it was a mountain, he goes, very good. Good job. She corrected herself. Well, corrected him and then stopped. And that's when they had a little bit of a, yeah. And that's when they had a little bit of a heart to heart. Like, listen, we know. But when I did this
it was
test,
really cool because he's like, I was only 4 years old when they tested me.
Absolutely.
And he gets down to her level. He gets down to where she's at and explains to her, I understand your fear. I understand your questions. I understand that you may have been told to purposely get these things wrong. But ultimately the question is, do you want to be a Jedi?
Yes.
And that's ultimately what it comes down to, is what do you want?
What do you want? Not what anybody else wants. What do you want?
Right. And telling her that and explaining that to her is huge. Because it takes a lot of her fear away of what is going to happen.
Yes.
If she goes along.
Yes. And this is where we also see some conflicting things between May and Asha again, because she knows what Asha did.
He wouldn't look at her.
Wouldn't look at her, was angry, ran off. And Kalnaka, from a distance, does a little bit of a growl. He's showing his concern for what's going on. Yes, you can't understand him, but that's exactly what he's doing. He's showing concern for that. Well, later that night,
he got a little bit of a smile from Osha from that too.
That's true. It's true. Later that night, they're talking. May and Asha meet with the Coven, and Asha says that she told the Jedi the truth. And you can see she was very upset. But Anastasia says that telling the truth is not always that simple. But she also said May is angry that you lied and breaking a promise and all that stuff. But she also says that the Jedi played a trick on her. She's like, no, they didn't. I want to be a Jedi. I want to travel. I want to see. I want to explore. I want to be my own person. I don't want to be a witch.
Yeah.
And that's where we can see things getting a little rough because now Coral is restraining May and takes her out of the room. Asha is apologizing to Anastasia, and she's like, listen, destiny is not decided by some type of force. You get to choose what your destiny is. Whether we like it or not, that is what you get to do.
If you want to pull the thread, pull the thread.
Pull the thread. Absolutely. And that's when she goes, but you won't see us ever again. And she goes, you're right. You won't. But that's when she goes, all right, well, I will discuss this with the rest of the council and I will bring it up to them and let them know that this is what you want. And we will take that into consideration, which is a good step.
This is where her, and this is also where her not completing the ascension ceremony comes into play big time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, as she's running off to her bedchamber to pack her bags, she touches a blue soft toys and picks up her journal. And one of the etched symbols in it is the Jedi symbol. That's when May enters, and the two of them start to have some disagreements again. Then May decides, all right, I'm going to snatch this journal and, oh, by the way, I'm locking you in your room. And she does. She closes the door and locks it. And that's when she decides to use an oil lantern to set the journal on fire. However, that fire wasn't just the journal, as it started to spread everywhere. Throughout the building, Asha's trapped. She uses a tool to go through a passageway. We start hearing explosions, screams from other witches. As she's getting to a generator, that blows. We see May running up the generator stairs. And soon after it explodes, there's a nice gap in the walkway where the two are. And Soul comes running into the fortress because, fire, explosions, everybody's going to die type of thing. And May tells Asha that Mother is dead. And Asha asks, what did you do? But May only returns the question, what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
So she's playing the no, you started this card.
Yeah, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault.
Yeah, no, you did it. Well, that's when the walkways start to give away and May slides into the chasm below. Falling, free falling. And as Asha starts to fall, Soul puts his arms out, pulls her to safety.
Yeah, snags her by the arm.
He gets her out of there, and as they're going through the corridors and the rooms, you can see all of the Coven witches are dead. There's bodies everywhere. Everywhere. As Soul gets her away from the fortress explodes, it crumbles, it falls to there's fire everywhere, and it just spreads. Spreads and spreads.
And the last one she saw was the body of her mother, and when she saw that, obviously, she loses it.
She started freaking out, doing what she needed to do.
Totally understandable.
She wakes up on a Jedi starship. They're on their way to Coruscant. She's got a breathing mask on. Soul is tending to her and says, you're safe. And Dara and Torben are near the door. They're watching in the background. Soul tells her that they are on their way. They're doing what they need to do to keep you safe. But that May also started the fire that destroyed everything and killed everyone, including Mama. And when Asha told Soul that, she said, we need to go back and search for May. And Soul says, there's nothing there. There's nothing to go back to. It's gone. But I will take you as my Padawan. And he hugs her. Promises to protect her.
Makes her a promise.
What?
Makes her a very interesting promise here, too.
Yep, to protect her.
He tells her, well, to protect her, and he will never let her feel this way again.
And that's true.
Very interesting promise to make.
Yeah. And then, of course, back on Brendok, we see that May survived the explosion. And she faces the Bunta tree, where she had found Asha meditating at the beginning of the episode. And that's it. That's the end of the episode. So this entire episode, and don't get me wrong, perfect placement for it. I think it could have been the first episode. Or whatever.
Very, very easily.
Yep, very easily could have been the first episode. And it's interesting because as a Star Wars fan, I did like the story. I did. I liked the backstory. It was interesting, to say the least. There's some holes that I wish they would have filled in. Mostly because I have a feeling that these are Night Sisters, not just a coven of witches. I firmly believe they're Night Sisters, just earlier versions that aren't all bad.
Could be the beginning of the formation of the Night Sisters.
Yeah, or maybe it's like the Jedi version of the Night Sisters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going with, because they didn't seem evil at all. They didn't.
I got you.
So I'm thinking that's where they're kind of going with this one, that it's the Jedi version of the Night Sisters, as opposed to the Sith version of the Night Sisters, which we know the Night Sisters are all Sith. They embrace the dark side of the Force, so on and so forth, because, you know, magic. But for me, the acting was a little meh. Scenery was beautiful. Story was good. But I'm only going to give it a 3.5.
Really?
Yeah. 3.5 from me on this episode.
Okay. I like the fact, this is the first time that I can remember that the entire episode has been a flashback.
Yes. It was the whole episode, which was great.
The entire episode from start to finish. I loved it. I loved it because of the fact that it answered the questions that I have had, that I've been screaming about, that I wanted more information about since episode 1.
Yep.
So that gives him a 2-point bump right there. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're at a 2. We're at a 2 right now. There's a couple things that I had issues with when it came to this. Especially, I mean, nothing in the middle until we get to the fire.
Okay.
And the death of the entire coven in one room.
Well,
to
more
me,
than one room.
It did not look like a group of people that were killed by an explosion with the way that they were laid out.
No.
As they go through that room, there's probably 15 to 20 of them laid in this room, but they're all laid one on top of the other. When you have an explosion, shit goes everywhere.
Yes.
You don't just fall down where you're at. You go flying. So I have issues with that. But at the same time, see, it makes me wonder, especially because of the what did you do? What did you do? What did you do exchange.
Right.
Because she knew she started the fire.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me wonder if maybe May, because we know she has the vicious side, it makes me wonder if May's not the one who killed them. Because they were going to let Osha go. And May got pissed.
Well, no, it was absolutely May got pissed. She did kill them.
She killed the entire coven.
Yes.
Is what I'm thinking. To include her mother.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the story of the fire killed the coven is, to me, has got to be just a cover. Which I kind of gets reinforced a little bit in episode 4.
Yeah.
But there's some things that I question through here that I'm sure I'll find out as we go. I'm giving this episode a 4.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the story. I love the fact that the entire episode was backstory.
Yeah.
Loved it. So there you go.
Which was a good thing. It's very rare.
Not very often that I come in higher than you on a rating.
Yeah, that is also true. It is very rare that happens. But that's okay, because now we get into episode 4. Episode 4, known as Day. Yes, Day. This is where we see the Jedi are going to find Kilnaka on Kafar. And we know that he's on Kafar because, 1, we saw him on Kafar, and 2, episode 2 ended with May finding out that he is on Kafar. So we start the episode off where he's walking through the woods or the forest of Kafar, and we see him get to his shelter. He's cooking, making some stew for himself, doing some things, but we also see some interesting circular symbols on all the walls, which is interesting because some of those symbols we've seen before with the Coven of Witches. Yes. That's right. We've seen them. They are there. Oh, yes, indeed. They are there. Well, once that happens, we fast forward to Coruscant at the Jedi Temple, and we see Padawan Jackie Lon and other Padawans working on training with their lightsabers, only using sticks. And they are being taught by Master Lekshay. He's telling his students all about combat. Maximize defense for a good offense. You know, you don't want to put too much into it because it'll be used against you. That type of thing. Sword play. They hear a chime and it marks the end of the class. He dismisses them. And he also says to Darrow and Rena, we need to work on your stance before you leave. Which is good. And Asha speaks to Lon, says, hey, listen, I'm out of here. Thanks for everything. Clearing my name, doing whatever. But she also thought, well, why don't you help us find your sister? Well, you did. You did help me find my sister, and I appreciate it. But
May is the Jedi's problem now.
Yes. May is the Jedi's problem. And, she even said, well, I mean, I'll miss you. I'll miss you. And Lon says, you care about your sister, and that's a lot of years of separation. You should really reconcile in some way, shape, or form, right. Which is a good thing. Want to say hi to Anne, who's viewing on D Live. Hello. Welcome. Hi, Anne. If you don't know what we're talking about right now, we're talking about Acolyte episode 4. And we're at the part in Coruscant where Asha is saying goodbye to Lon. Hey, thanks everything. I'll see you later. I'm going to be in the meeting, but you know what? Next time I'm here, we'll have to meet up. I promise. I'll meet up with you and everything will be great. Well, that's when we see a starship go over and over and land on Kafar, where May and Kamir are unloading supplies and doing what they need to do. And May's like, all right, I'm ready, let's go. And Kamir's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't want to go into those woods alone. Let me help you find him. Let me help you find Kelnaka. And, well,
What I'm here for.
May's like, well, have you done this before? Yes. My master, who's your master, told me to. That's a red flag for me right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason it's a red flag, and I'll get into it in a little bit. Because I have a theory. And normally, when it comes down to this, to the theories of Star Wars, I'm pretty good at it. As a writer and director, I'm really good at it. I have theories.
Otherwise, he's just okay.
Otherwise, yeah, I just, coast along, BC student, Well,
Right.
Kamir says, well, listen, it doesn't change anything with the master. We know Ash is alive. You still need to do what you need to do, so you might as well do it. And that's when May says, well, we better get going. We only have 3 hours of sunlight left. Let's move along. Let's move along. Well, back on Coruscant, we see a meeting of Jedi. And we see interesting ones because we see Jedi Holden, which, good to have. Good to have. She's not bad. Not great, but not bad. She's high ranking. I wouldn't put her as one that would automatically say, hey, she does what she needs to do. Does what she needs to do. But we also see Ki-Adi-Mundi. Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi. Now, if you don't remember Ki-Adi-Mundi, he was a part of the Jedi Council later on. So this is a much younger version of him that we see.
Right.
He is a Padawan to Master Yoda, who we know is alive because, yeah, it's Yoda. He's like 600 something years old or whatever.
Right.
And he does
Ancient.
what he needs to do, but
He's even old compared to me.
Yeah. But they're talking about May and displaying the skill set to take out Jedi without a lightsaber. And even Master Soul's like, well, someone trained her. Who trained her? Who is it? And Saul even goes, well, May doesn't even know. She doesn't know the identity. The person was wearing a mask. We know this. We've seen them.
He hides their identity from her.
Yeah.
From everybody. Because even what the frick's his name that's out there with May
Yeah.
doesn't know his name.
Well, that's when they also say, well, listen, she could be a major threat, by the way, because of the way she's trained. And that's when they start showing the images of Indara, Torben, and Kelnaka. Kelnaka does not have an X over their face, or their face isn't red because they haven't been killed. Kelnaka is still alive. We know this. We saw him at the beginning. And that's when he says, these are the ones they took out. Well, Master Rowe goes, well, you too. You're targeted too.
Yeah, he says she's targeted these 3, and he's corrected immediately 4 because you're on that list too, pal.
Yeah, you're on the list. And that's when Mundi says, not for nothing, but we really should bring this to the Jedi High Council. And
Right.
Ro goes, no, we'll be the laughing stock of pretty much everything. We should be able to handle this without any problems.
Well, I don't think it says she thought that they would be the laughing stock. She's worried that the confidence level in the Jedi Council and the Jedi and everything is going to be, I don't want to say destroyed, but it's definitely going to be put into question because of what's happening.
Sure.
So we need to try to handle this in-house if we can.
Yeah.
You know, which automatically when you have somebody go, well, I don't think we want the ones above us to know what's going on, or otherwise it's going to cause a lot of problems. So let's see if we can handle this by ourselves. Usually not a good thing.
Right. Because you got to figure the Jedi Council, they have to go to the Senate
Mm-hmm.
and let the Senate know, here's what's going on in the galaxy, folks.
Yeah.
And that can cause an avalanche of things. And you don't want that. So I get it. I get where Master Ro is, you know, her line of thinking is on it. But let's deal with it. Let's do low key in case it has to get bigger, you know? And let's go get Kilnaka. Let's free them up, do what we need to do. And that's when Sol says, wait a minute, I should be going. I should be the one doing this. I'm the one that can get to her. I'm the one that can talk to her. I'm the one that you need. You need me on this.
She's going to respond to anybody. She's going to respond to me.
Yeah, which is true.
Pretty much.
Which is true.
He
So
does have that relationship with her.
So that's when she agrees and says, take who you need. Take who you need. Go extract Kilnaka, protect him, do what you need to do, get home. And if you capture May, capture May. But don't return without her. She's not going to surrender. We know this. So Sol's like, yep, okay, got it. Well, now they're on the hunt. Now you've got Kamir and May, and you've got the Jedi all looking for Kilnaka. And it just so happens that Kamir and May are discussing the command to kill a Jedi without a weapon. I have questions about this, and I'm glad they were talking about it.
Right. But he's questioning the fact that you can't kill them with a weapon, but you can kill them with their lightsaber if you are able to disarm them.
Yes.
Very interesting theory.
Now, this is where my red flag went up. This is my red flag. He is the master. I'm calling it right now. Kamir is the master. Kamir is behind the mask. Kamir is behind May doing what she needs to do. Because how else would Kamir know about to kill a Jedi without a weapon? How else would he know to say, but if you grab their lightsaber and kill them with it, it's not your weapon, it's theirs. And not only that, for a Sith to kill a Jedi, they usually take their weapons. Then use the Force to make the Kyber crystal bleed, turning it red. Red flag, Kamir is going to be the acolyte. Well, the master, anyway. May is the acolyte. We know May is the acolyte.
Interesting.
Now, May says to Kamir, well, what kind of deal did you make with the master? And he goes, I didn't make a deal with the master. And he says that he just collects people, you know?
Right.
Clue number 2.
Interesting. Very, very interesting theory. I've got a theory myself, too.
Clue number 2.
Very, very interesting theory. I like that.
So they reach the perimeter, and May is still unhappy that Asha is with the Jedi and says to Kamir, well, what was she like? And he says, well, she seemed to not have understanding of her situation. And that, she was attached to this particular Jedi Master. And that's when Kamir's face, like, kind of gets dark, And he says, well, you know what? We should continue our hike. Red flag number 3. So, while they're doing that, we see the other Jedi and Asha walking through the hallway of the Jedi Temple, chatting with Pip. And if you don't know who Pip is the little robot droid that hangs right on her side, right? Which is a good thing. You like that stuff. We like the small things. And, well, Soul calls out to her and says that Jecki had told him that she had left. And, now they're having this conversation of, why are you leaving? I need your help. And Asha right away says, you want me back in the order? Kind of says, yeah, kind of.
Not officially.
Unofficially, you're in the order. Unofficially. And they do what they need to do. So she agrees. She dresses in a civilian suit.
The one that she said she would not wear.
Yep, the one she said she wouldn't wear. Ended up wearing it anyway because she had to. And Yord Fandar is briefing Asha and the other Jedi, including Lon. And he goes, okay, well, Master Kilnak is on Kafar. Nobody's heard from him in over a year or so. He's a recluse. He's in the woods somewhere. We just don't know where. And he hasn't given any transmissions or anything like that of any kind. He is off the grid. Pip then sprays a Tynan, little furry alien who's also wearing civilian clothing. And Asha's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. What was he talking about? Do you know what he was talking about? Lon, do you know? What did he say? And was caught out on it.
Well, she was asking what that thing was.
Yes.
And was it on their side?
So the Tynan, his name is Basil.
Mm-hmm.
And he's with them because apparently he's a tracker. Yep. He can track. So they come out of hyperdrive and they ascend onto the world and they land and they start asking questions of the local natives like, hey, have you seen this Jedi? Looks like this. Where has he been? Have you seen him? And that's when some of them go, well, no, haven't seen him. Or he went in. They haven't seen him in quite some time or anything of the sorts. And that's when Soul and the other Jedi turn and look to the forest. And Soul goes, that's where he is. That's where he is. He's in there. And at the same time, Fander's telling Asha, you need to give me that blaster back. And she's like, no, this is mine.
No, technically that is, belongs to the Jedi Council. Therefore, I'm going to have to insist that to me, he is like the cop who's on a semi-power trip.
He goes by the rules.
Mm.
That's what that is. He goes by the rules. So while they're walking, doing what they need to do, because they can't find Kilnaka right away, they use Basil's sense of smell to lead them into the forest and down the cliffs so they can go and find him. And it's funny because Fandar can understand him. And he replies that he spent his free time learning a more nuanced alien language than the Shriwook, which is the language of the Wookiees that most Padawans study.
Right.
Makes sense. So that's when Asha goes, hey, are you upset that I'm here? Like, what's going on? And he says, no. I'm concerned for your safety and your safety only. Which is a good thing. They were friends when they were Padawans together. So the fact that he's using that to, hey, listen, I'm your friend. I'm also a Jedi Knight. I'm here to protect you. So you're good. I got you.
Real quick, I want to say hi to the Raiders. The Maltese Muffin has rated the show.
What? No. You're kidding me. Why didn't that notification pop up? Why didn't that notification pop up? Raiders.
We haven't had too many people raid, so I...
Raiders.
Great to have you, Raiders.
Hello. And how are you? Welcome to Accidental Punch TV.
Yeah.
I'm Sully. I'm the broadcaster, host of all the shows. This is my tag team partner, JT. He's the redneck. And currently, we're talking about The Acolyte, episode 4.
Yes. Yes.
So if you haven't watched it, you're not a Star Wars fan, that's okay. Carol doesn't watch them at all. She watches our show, and we tell her all about it, and she loves it, which is great. Eventually, she'll get to watching it. Eventually. When that'll be, I don't know. So at this point in time, we're currently looking for the Wookiee Jedi Master Kelnaka on where is it? What's the world again? Kofar.
How is it that I remembered the planet name and you didn't?
Because I was looking at the language of the Wookiees, the Shriwook, and I almost said that was the planet.
Shriwookie.
And it wasn't.
Shriwookie. Yes.
And it wasn't. But
here's the move out. Oh, it was the first raid didn't go through.
Oh, bummer. Maltese Muffin Man, thank you, sir. Or man.
Great to have you. And this one says that Brewer, our good friend Brewer, is rating with a party of 4.
Well, hello.
Ooh, great to have you with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We're talking Star Wars. We got Star
Brewer
Wars.
Says, finally get to raid you guys.
Yay. That's because he got off the air early and we're still on. Because we're doing 2 episodes of 2 Ewoks in the Park in one. Episode 4 of The Acolytes. So yeah, breakdown, spoilers. It's all here. All here. We're almost done with this episode, actually. We've got a lot going on, and I've got a theory. You've got a very
interesting theory.
It's a great theory. Red flags, 3 of them.
I've got one too, but yours is a lot more well-founded.
Kamir is the master. I'm calling it right now. We'll know more tomorrow with episode 5, but that's it. That's if they ever unmask them. Viking Brew. Oh no, I've only watched the first episode and I don't know. So
ignore the political crap and enjoy the show.
438 Emily says she's never seen Star Wars, so I have to take my leave. Good night. No, you don't have to leave. We like to give our own. Listen, your opinion is just as accepted as JT's. And that's saying a lot. You look confused, JT. Whether it's Star Wars or not, don't hesitate to stick around. Seriously. So while this is all happening, we see some things going on deeper and deeper into the forest. Oh, she doesn't want the spoilers. Oh, okay. Listen, spoil it. This whole show is spoilers.
Yes.
I'll tell you that right now. Whole show is spoilers. You know, if you want to put us on mute, by all means, put us on mute. Do what you got to do.
The wrong way, but yeah, if you're worried about spoilers, leave.
Yeah. Or just mute us and keep us on in the background or something.
There you go.
Whatever you want. You know, I'm not going to tell you to stick around. But also, Emily, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it.
Yes.
I do.
Yes, very much.
Much love. Do appreciate it. So, yeah. So, you do you, girl. You do you.
And Viking Brew, see us tomorrow night when we're doing the funny stuff.
Yeah, tomorrow night's fun.
Starting 8 p.m.
Viking Brewer, there's political stuff. LOL. Yeah. we already got into that convo, but let's finish up because we got a couple more things to talk about when it comes to this episode before we give the rating. And now we're deeper in the woods, and May and Camille are at a point where they're doing things. Okay, they're trying to rest. They're getting obstructed. Emily says she'll be streaming tomorrow night. Oh, you know what, Emily? I'm going to follow you because I can. Boom. I'm now following you. So that way, if I go off before you, that sounded wrong. I apologize. But yeah, we'll raid your channel. And if you're done, by all means. And Viking Brew says,
copy to new.
Yep, copy to new. I'll have to do that later. Oh, that's awesome. Send me the link or message me or Brewer, send me something. I'll follow you guys. Absolutely. So, Basil is searching for Kilnaka, the scent. The scent is there. And while they're there, we see an Umbra moth. Umbra moth. This thing is massive. So big, in fact, that Saul takes his lightsaber out and says, I got this, and cuts it in half.
In mid-flight.
Yeah. And Ashish notices that the creature was drawn to his lightsaber, and he says, well, yes, they're drawn to the light. And he tells the Jedi party that they have to keep moving. We got to keep going. Let's go. Let's do what we need to do. Well, they also lose Basil at this time because they don't know where he is. They can't keep up with him. And while that's happening, we're seeing the trees kind of like make a giant tunnel. And Fandor is now leading the group ahead. And that's when Lon replies that it is an honor for something to transform into the Force. Because Asha could sense the creature. She could sense things, and she regrets that it died. And you can see it on her face. And
I sensed it. It woke up, and now it's dead.
Yeah.
And it's my fault.
Right. She takes blame, and it is what it is. It's life. It happens that way. So her biggest struggle now is life and death. It's like something dies, she's automatically taking blame when she needs to accept that death is a part of life. That's one of the reasons.
This comes from her not dealing with the death of her mother and her sister.
Absolutely. She blames herself for that.
Yep. Yep.
And that's when Lon says to her that, you're not defined by what you lose, but what you survive.
What you live.
Yeah. And she says, I know you've gone through a lot. It's okay. It's okay for you to have gone through a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, at this time, May is now having second thoughts on things. And Camille and May are going through the jungle, and they say, hey, listen, okay, we need a break. But Camille's like, well, Kanaka's hut is 10 minutes away. May's like, no, time to rest. We've been going and going and going, time to rest.
I like what you said. I have to fight a Wookiee after this. I've been running for 3 hours. I need to take a break.
Yeah. And that's when she says, as she sits down, Camille tells her that confronting Kilnaka is not a test, recalling what the master's words were. Your final lesson is one you teach yourself. Mm-hmm. You will kill a Jedi without a weapon. May struggles with this. You can see she's struggling with it. You can see she's conflicted now
Well, she's like, how do you kill something that won't attack an unarmed person?
Right. Exactly.
Because that's against, a Jedi don't attack.
Red flag
people.
number 4. Red flag number 4. Kamir is saying, no, it's not impossible. You could do it. May drinks her water. And she says, no, the test is impossible. It's impossible. There's no way. And to be honest, I'm afraid that he's going to kill me for failing it. Because he's a Sith Lord. They do that. But that's when May says to Kamir, you don't care about me. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go get some water. Go get some water. Red flag number 5. Because he says to her, well, you know what? You're losing your nerve. I'm just going to go get water and I'll be back and we'll continue on. And that's when May looks on and goes, no, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Because, I'm just done. Well, dusk is approaching. They finally meet up with Basil. Well, no, not yet. No, Basil's still yet. Gone. They haven't been able to find him. And Fander's like, well, of course, we're going to have to find him now.
You need a tracker to find the tracker.
Yeah. And Kamir hears May's cries and runs to help her. He steps on a booby trap and is caught in a rope hanging upside down from a leg from a tree. As May comes out of
the oldest traps in history.
Yep.
By the way.
As she comes out of the trees, Kamir calls for help and May goes, no, I don't need to do this for the Master. The Master's commandment to kill a Jedi without a weapon because Asha being alive changes everything. True. It does change everything. And May says, I am not loyal to him. I am loyal to her. Yep. Not Kamir's master. Red flag.
Complete and total turnaround.
Red flag. Red flag. You seeing the red flags here? Well, Kamir says, well, wait a minute. What are you doing? That's when May replies with, well, I'm going to surrender myself to Kanaka and the Jedi Order. And I'm going to tell them what's going on. And Kamir's like, well, they're going to throw you in prison. She goes, they won't after what I tell them.
Yeah, not after what I have to tell them.
And that's when Kamir says that the Master will kill her. And May goes, well, you know what? He's got to find me first. Can't find me here. There's no way. No way he can find me here. Doubt that he'll even be able to navigate the woods. And that's when May tells Kamir that he has outlived his usefulness to her. Red flag. Connect the dots. You know I'm right on this. You know I'm right.
You're starting to convince me a lot more than my theory.
Wait, it's going to get better. Just wait. So now, because of the screams, May's running through the forest. She trips and falls, and there's Basil. Right there. Basil.
What happens? Basil starts screaming.
Basil starts screaming. Yeah, exactly. So now the Jedi are alerted, and they all go rushing in that direction. And Asha asks, when Asha asks, he says it is nothing. She's like, well, it doesn't sound like nothing. Sounds like something's happening.
Well, it was a very interesting statement that the guy that Osha knows with Padawans with
Soul or
Because he
Fandor?
turns and looks at her and says, "Stay behind us.
Yes. Stay behind us. That was Fandor.
Stay behind us." Yeah, that guy.
Well, as we get closer and closer to Kanaka's hut, we see May seeing it in the distance, and she runs and flat out says, "Hey, it's me. I'm here. Master Kanaka, I surrender." And then she goes inside. And inside, she sees Kelnaka sitting in the chair, slumped.
Because all this, and I hate you for this. She's right here, dear.
Yeah, it's right here.
She just came out from behind the door. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't like you anymore because your freaking theory is right. Gotta be.
Wait, it gets better.
Well, because she sat there and told him her plan.
Yep.
I'm not gonna kill
Kelnaka.
Kalnaka, thank you. I'm going to turn myself into him, and then he will turn me over to them, and I'll be safe because I will be with them.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, she walks in, and she sees him, and she walks around, and like you said, he's slumped over the chair with a freaking saber mark
Yep.
across his chest.
Yep.
And you automatically see the terror that comes into her eyes and comes across her face.
Uh-huh. Wait, it gets better.
And there's more.
There's more to this connecting of the dots, because now that we see Kelnaka with a lightsaber slash right through his chest, the Jedis get to the hut and Saul says, "Come on out. In the name of the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order, come on out." And Fandor says, "May, we know you're in there. Come on out. It'll be better for everybody if you do."
That means you, May.
But that's when May looks over and sees everybody. And Soul turns and sees Asha in the back as a dark figure is coming down from the trees. Red
That was
flag.
creepy. That was creepy.
It was creepy, but red flag. Come on. You know I'm right on this.
I won't say you're right, but it sure as hell seems like it. I refuse to say that you're right.
It's getting closer and closer to me being right with this theory, okay?
But I'm not going to say that you're right or that you were right. I'm just not going to do it.
So the other Jedi turn around, and there's the dark figure standing right there, mask and all, with a red lightsaber up to Asha's face.
I love how they did that, though.
That was cool.
I love the way they did that scene.
Yes.
Because he just this thing, whatever it is,
Yep.
just slowly comes up to her, and I mean gets. I mean, they're like this.
Yep.
Face to face, you can see. I mean, they look like almost look like teeth.
Yep.
But they're not teeth. You know, it's a really strange image that they're putting out here.
Yes.
And then you hear the lightsaber being turned on and this glow off to the side, and it brings the sword, this lightsaber up.
Yep.
Was just so cool.
It really was.
One of the coolest moments in the entire series so far.
It really was. Well, as May is watching from inside the hut, the Jedi all draw their lightsabers, and we got green, yellow, and blue, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wasn't there a white one in there?
What? No.
No,
No, there was no white.
Okay.
And they charge at this figure with this red lightsaber.
And Soul screams at Osha. Sorry,
Yep.
I'm the Osha. You're the Asha. screams at Osha to run.
Yep.
And dude just goes,
Flicks her away.
and she goes flying.
Flicks her away.
From the coolest scene to the funniest scene in like 15 seconds.
Yeah. And then he hurls the Jedi away and stirs up a cloud of dust. And we fade to black.
That is some freaking power.
Now, the only other thing that I can think of for a theory is that their mother is still alive.
See, that's where I was at. I was at either one of the two mothers.
Yep.
Or somebody in the coven.
Yes. However,
I was leaning towards one of the two mothers. That's where I was at. That's what my theory was.
However, the dots are connected to Kamir right now. Because he knows way too much.
Until Kamir shows himself in the same scene as
Exactly.
this.
Exactly.
God, I hate it. I can't say it, but you might be right. You might be. You might. I'm not gonna concede, but you might be right. You might be right. Bastard.
I mean, it makes
Every time
sense.
I come up with a theory, you blow mine away.
It makes sense, right?
Yes, it does. It does make sense.
Just a little bit.
You have definitely. You have connected probably 15 out of the 20 dots. So we're pretty much already know what the freaking connected dot picture is going to be. We just don't want to admit to that point yet.
I mean, come on. I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty good at this stuff.
Screw your theory for a minute.
Yep.
Imagine the amount of power that this thing had to possess, to control, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
To send 8 or 9, either Jedi or Padawan, but still highly trained.
Yes.
Jedi warriors flying backwards like you flicked an ant off a picnic table.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Imagine the force that would take. Scary.
Yeah.
To me, that's more powerful than Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker and anything else that we have seen to this point, other than the Death Star blowing up a freaking planet.
Yes.
Most power I have ever seen wielded on this show. Now, you take that, you add in the fact that we finally know what happened. Thanks to episode 3, we finally know what happened between Osha and May. Why, how she, well, we don't really know how she survived, but we know that she survived.
Yep.
You add the conflict that is finally revealed that Osha still has with dealing with the loss of her sister and then finding out she's alive, dealing with the loss of her mother and her everything that she's known her entire life, and being taken away to the Jedi Order and everything else. And that's why she left, because she could not deal with it. She could not come to
terms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why couldn't I think of that? She couldn't come to terms with what had happened in her childhood.
Correct.
Is why she left. You bring all that together, and then all of a sudden you have, and she even told them, she has 2 different people. She says, when it comes down to it, if I can't do it, you have to stop her.
Yes.
So, and I never got to say it, but I like that one comment that he made to her, maybe he brought you here so that you can deal with your problems.
Yeah.
And finally bring that to a close, which was very cool. I'm at a 4. I'm at a 4 on this episode as well. Great episode. Love the play. love the back and forth and everything. It was a good episode.
All right. Well, guess what? I'm at a 4.2.
Hey, we finally hit.
I'm at a 4.2 on this one. It would have been a 4.5 if we had seen a little bit more of the dark, shadowy figure. However,
Can't give up that much that fast.
However, I'm still calling it. Kamir's the bad guy.
You think about the silhouette on the rocky outcrop. Think about the silhouette that was out there.
It's about the same size.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Putting it out there. You may be right on this one, and I hate to give you anything, but you may be right on this one.
Anything's possible. That, my friends.
He thinks the guy that's with May is the dark guy, the bad guy. Oh, if you listen, you got to listen to the breakdown of the show. Go ahead.
So, that, my friends, is the end of Two Ewoks in the Park for this week, episode 3 and 4 of The Acolyte. Next week, we'll tackle episode 5. And only episode 5.
Only one.
We've got 3 episodes left. 4 episodes left.
4.
5, 6, 7, and 8.
4 episodes left.
So next week it'll be just 1 episode per week, and we'll be able to get it done. And it's going to be a great conversation starter for some people. So, yeah. For the redneck, there he is. There he is. You can't miss him. I'm the geek.
Yeah.
Tune in tomorrow night for the Sully Show, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Accidental Punch TV. And we will be back with Two Ewoks in the Park next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll go over episode 5 of The Acolyte. With that being said, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, and may the Force be with you.
Hasta la vista.